Congressman, what's interesting in our conversation right now, in your previous conversations with the press, you keep talking about it's time for a new generation. People in their 80s aren't equipped to deal with these things. An NBC poll recently found 74% of voters either have major or moderate concerns, both about President Biden's mental and physical fitness to serve for the job. Are you one of those Americans?
Of course I am. And like I said, I have great respect for people of wisdom and experience. But you don't see leaders of Fortune 500 companies at that age. If you're a United States airline pilot, you have to retire when you're 65. You know, there's a reason, because we're human beings, that we don't generally see people in that age group in significant leadership positions. And by the way, Donald Trump is going to be in his 80s as well. This is not just a singular issue with a singular candidate. I revere people of wisdom. I was thrilled when Speaker Pelosi chose to hand the torch to Hakeem Jeffries, an extraordinary leader, a man I have great faith in and admiration. I've been fighting to see him rise to the leader of our party in the House and eventually Speaker for 2 terms. And what she did was extraordinary. She passed the torch and she stuck around to provide counsel and mentorship to that generation who is ready to lead. That's exactly my proposition. I'd love to see President Biden play a mentorship role to the next generation. I'd love to see Speaker Emerita Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, Jim Clyburn, Chuck Schumer, all these people that have been around there for decades, turn over the reins to a rising generation that has ideas, competencies, understands the future and meeting the moment, but stick around and help us out, because that's how America should work. But to entrust, well, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm speaking for the 75% of Americans who feel exactly the same way.
Congressman, would you go as far as to call for age limits when it comes to lawmakers?
No, because I believe in democracy. You should be able to generally make a choice. And by the way, there are many competent people who are older. I do believe in term limits. I believe that the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court need term limits. We already have them in the White House. There's a reason for it. I've seen how people behave when I know that their terms are coming to an end. They're independent-minded. Their character seems to increase. They take risks that they wouldn't before, and they act in a manner that I believe most Americans want. So I would have, yes, absolutely, I'd have term limits. I'd have 18-year limits in the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. It would make the institution work a whole lot better. But age limits, age caps, if you will, I think that's a little bit unnecessary, because the fact of the matter is everybody about whom I'm speaking would have termed out a long time ago if we simply had 18-year limits, which is plenty, which again, that's how corporations work. That's how nonprofit sectors work. That's how just about any reasonable institution, enterprise, or business operates with leadership. Because to have an operating entity that does well, you need new blood, new ideas, new perspectives. And when you keep people in the same positions, doing the same thing for a long time, you get what you pay for. And that's why the United States finds ourselves, I believe, in this period of malaise, of division, of discord. And it's time to bring optimism and hopefulness and a great new American century. And we're ready for it if people make the choice.